invocation.
Let us pray. Father God, we thank you for preparing the soldiers and the family members of the Detachment 5 soldiers and the families the tools and the skills that they need to endure and fulfill their calling. Surround them with your peace that passes understanding and strengthen them with courage to stand strong, particularly as we commission them today for their mission. To you be the glory. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Nielsen. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. Welcome to the deployment ceremony of Detachment 5, Company A, 2 of the 245th Aviation Regiment. The event today represents another milestone of distinguished service to the citizens of this country, the Illinois Army National Guard, and the United States Army. It is an honor to have with us today several distinguished guests. Please hold your applause until everyone has been recognized. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker. Brigadier General Richard Neely, the Adjutant General, Illinois National Guard. Chief Warrant Officer 5, Jason Stiff, the commander of Detachment 5, Company A, 2 of the 245th Aviation Regiment. Brigadier General Mark Jackson, Assistant Adjutant General. Jay Burgles, representing Congressman Darren LaHood. Colonel Alessia, Chief of Staff. CW5 Hammond, Command Chief. Command Sergeant Major Carney, State Command Sergeant Major. Retired Colonel James Smith, Chief of Staff, Military Affairs. Brigadier General Nizamis, Assistant Adjutant General Air. Retired Colonel, Chief of Staff, Colonel Schweikert. And directors and command staff. Thank you for being here today. I would be remiss if I didn't also recognize our next group of distinguished guests, the spouses, families, and friends of our deploying soldiers. These individuals play a significant role, and it is important to recognize them for their sacrifices. Would the spouses and families of our deploying soldiers please stand? Ladies and gentlemen, please give all of our distinguished guests a round of applause. Prior to hearing from our distinguished guests, it is customary to conduct a reading of the mobilization order. Attention to orders. Army Permanent Orders 1 Alpha-18-317-025 dated 13 November 2018. 245th Aviation Battalion Company Alpha Det 5 ordered to active duty in support of Operation Enduring Freedom, Horn of Africa for a period of 400 days unless sooner released by proper authority, pursuant to Presidential Executive Order 13223 dated 14 September 2001. 245th Aviation Battalion Company A Detachment 5 is relieved from present reserve component status and ordered to active duty for mobilization. Please take your seats. We will now hear remarks from our distinguished guests. Ladies and gentlemen, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker.
Good morning. I'm honored to be here with the members of Detachment 5, Company A, and to be with your loved ones. And I want to recognize General Neely, whose first months in office as Adjutant General of the Illinois National Guard have been remarkable for the great promise that he's shown for what's to come. The fundamental strength of our National Guard is that it's a force of ordinary citizens who are doing extraordinary work. And the Illinois National Guard operates at the highest levels of that commitment, leading the nation in what it means to serve. Those of you who will soon deploy represent the most exemplary among the extraordinary. Combined, you have deployed a total of 15 times, from Iraq to Kosovo, from Afghanistan to Africa. Your team has done it all, and then some. When the rest of us strive to serve our communities, we would do well to emulate you. The Illinois Guard is 13,000 strong. That's 13,000 individuals who are already serving our communities as teachers and students, doctors and lawyers, farmers and firefighters, people of all backgrounds and walks of life. 13,000 individuals who go beyond their ordinary duties as citizens to protect our state, our country, and our freedoms. To be the Commander-in-Chief of Illinois' citizen soldiers is humbling, because you all represent the very best of our state. So I stand here before you with Memorial Day on the horizon to tell you that the service that you and your families give every day to the people of Illinois and to defend this nation will always be a source of inspiration and respect. As we send you off to Fort Bliss and then onward to the Horn of Africa, carry with you all the strength of Illinois standing behind you. And know that when you return, your families and the family of grateful Illinoisans will be cheering you and welcoming you home with reverence and pride.
Governor Pritzker is presenting the Illinois state flag to CW5 Stiff. This flag will accompany these soldiers on their upcoming mission and serve as a reminder that the citizens of Illinois support them and await their safe return. Thank you, Governor Pritzker and CW5 Stiff. At this time, we will hear remarks from Brigadier General Neely, the Adjutant General, Illinois National Guard.
Good morning. How's everybody today? All right. Hey, it's a great honor to be here this morning. As the governor said, it's very humbling to stand here as the Adjutant General, and as the governor said, what a great group of Americans, right? Detachment 5 is, we've got 6 of the individuals here today, 7 of them in total that will be deploying. This is their 4th deployment of the unit since 2007, when the detachment was actually stood up. And today our job is really to ensure the readiness and the preparedness of these soldiers as they get ready to take on this next mission, going back to Horn of Africa for this critical mission. So today we recognized a lot of VIPs in the room, those very important people that came in. And it was, the governor and I would be the first to say the most important people in the room are these soldiers here in the front row. They're the most critical part of what we do, and they represent us well throughout our organization. They're in fact the epitome of what we call the Minuteman ethos, right? And so for those of us that wear the uniform as a guardsman, we understand the ethos of a Minuteman. And sometimes you'll see the statue around here, you'll see it on the flags, but it's the Minuteman that has his hand on the plow, resembling the issue that they are there in their communities. They are tied to their communities. They are tied to the families, and they're here every day. As the governor talked about, their students, their doctors, their employees in the community, and they're there every day. But in the right hand, they hold a weapon. They hold a weapon to a rifle. And in that right hand, they hold the rifle so that they're ready to go and protect their neighbors. They're there to protect their state. They're there to deploy and defend their nation if called upon. And this group today really epitomizes what it is to be a Minuteman. There's few in our communities that maybe realize what it is to wear the uniform. And we shouldn't be surprised. And I know many of you that are in the uniforms today that's here in the audience, you've probably had a similar conversation as I've had in the public, right? You're at the grocery store, you're at the bank, and you're talking to friends or colleagues or somebody that you bumped into. And you tell them about how proud you are to be a guardsman, to be in the military, to deploy. And it's not really what they say, it's how they look at you. And sometimes they look at you because they don't understand. They don't understand how you're willing to take a year and deploy to defend your nation. They're not really understanding how you're willing to take the hard road and move and take time away from your family. But they probably shouldn't. There's really not that many of us out there. Less than, it's 0.6%, less than 1% of Americans, citizens today, wear the uniform. In fact, it's 0.6%. It's just a little more than 0.5% when you include the Guard, the Reserve, and the active duty. And so when you talk about the 1%ers, that's these folks, right? That's you in the uniform. You're the 1%ers, right? So no wonder the community doesn't understand you sometimes when you say, hey, I'm going to deploy. I'm going to take this on because I know in my heart this is what the mission is. I can't let my troops down because I need to go with them. That dedication, because you're the 1%ers. You're the 1% that takes care of the 99%. You're the 1% that defends the 99%. And so you should be very proud of what you're about to do and step out. I know it's very bittersweet. Multiple deployments myself. I know it's very bittersweet. You're excited about the operations. You're excited about the deployment. You're excited about what lays ahead of you. You do not want to leave the loved ones in the room. And so it's a challenge. And to the family, we can't do this mission without you. Right? You are an extension of the National Guard. You are part of us. And you probably had the hardest part of the job. So when these soldiers deploy, somebody still has to mow the grass, somebody still has to go to the bank, somebody still has to get the groceries, birthdays still happen, holidays still occur, and other special events occur like graduations. And these folks miss out. But you have to pick up the rest of this, right? You are an extension of us. And although you didn't raise your right hand, you didn't swear into the National Guard, and I'm not sending you a paycheck, you are part of us and you're an extension of us. And today I just say thank you for that. I've seen what that is. I left my wife behind with 4 teenagers and a 5-year-old, right? And she still reminds me of that when I deployed to Iraq the second time. And 20 pieces of property, right? And it wasn't easy on her. In fact, I think she had the harder job because I was about operations. I was about getting the job done every day, and that's where my heart was. Although my heart was back at home, I was focused on the mission. And we can only do that with the support of the family. So again, I don't want you to have to stand up again, but I do want to recognize you and say thank you for all that you do for us. Lastly, I'll say is we are here. That's all the support in the room and the uniforms that are here to support these soldiers deploying today. We are here to support these soldiers as they go down range, and we'll do that. And we're here to support the families if you need us. So please let us know if there's anything we can do for you, okay? Thank you again, and Godspeed.
Thank you, Brigadier General Neely. Chief Warrant Officer 5, Jason Stiff, Commander of Detachment 5, Company A, 2 of the 245th Aviation, would like to say a few words.
Good morning, everybody. Governor Pritzker, General Neely, thanks for coming today. Most importantly, like everybody else has said, I would just like to echo their comments on the families. But on a more personal note, I want to thank you guys for letting us do what we do every day. I know that being a member of this unit, we kind of have a high op tempo, and we do a lot of missions that involve missing dances, missing games, missing practices, changed schedules, broken dates. So I just want to say thank you for doing what we do all the time. And then you add into that the deployments that we go on, like the General and the Governor mentioned, this will be the 4th deployment for this unit since 2007. So we do deploy a lot, and we thank you guys for staying here and keeping things under control to the best that you can do while we're gone. I know that while we're downrange, we can pretty much plan our day for the next 2 weeks. I can tell you what I'm going to do almost to the hour in the future. But for you guys here at home, when you open your eyes in the morning, you never know what's going to happen. So I've been there before. Amy and I have a standing joke every time we go on one of these deployments that somewhere between when the plane leaves Decatur and when it gets where it's going, this time it'll be Fort Bliss, I'm going to turn on my phone and the dishwasher will have died, the washing machine will have died, the car will have died, or somebody will have dumped a bag of sugar on the floor or decided to go from the playhouse to the pool and not made it. So I'm talking to you two, you guys behave, all right? But I think that if you were to go to 99.9% of your peers and tell them that your spouse just left you at home for 10 months to a year to take care of everything at home, they would look at you, like the General said, like, really? They just did that to you? So I want to say thank you. I've sat in your seat and I understand a little bit of it, but it's a tremendous burden and we couldn't do what we do without you guys. So thank you. I don't know whether to call it an honor or a privilege or just the pinnacle of my career that I get to command these guys. Between the 7 of us, we have got over 150 years of military career experience. We've got over 15,000 flight hours. And the amazing thing is that over 25% of that has been flown in combat. This is probably one of the most seasoned units in Army aviation today. It's a team that I would put up against any unit in the Army nationwide. I mean, it's a great team. Those numbers are just statistics. The thing that really sets us apart is that anytime we get a mission, and we do operational support airlift, so our missions are live pretty much from the Rocky Mountains to the East Coast all the time. And we get a lot of calls at 11 o'clock on Friday that somebody wants to go somewhere and we're not going to get home till 10 o'clock. We never don't have a crew. The words are always, I'll do it. You know, you missed your kid's dance last time. Let me go this time. And so the guys are willing to take one for the team all the time. And it's an amazing group. We have a team that you just can't be beat, and we're going to do the best we can overseas. And so, guys, just like we always do, we're going to put the mission first. We're going to take care of our equipment, and most importantly, we're going to take care of each other. All right? And we're going to go over there. We're going to do what we do, and we're going to leave the place a little bit better than we found it. All right? So, thanks for coming, and I hope to see you guys back here 10 months to a year, all right? Everybody's smiling face is going to be here, right? Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you, CW5 Stiff. During deployment ceremonies, it is tradition for our distinguished guests to troop the lines and honor our deploying troops. In lieu of this tradition, I ask the soldiers of Det 5, Company A, 2 of the 245th Aviation Regiment to come forward and allow our distinguished guests to honor them. The deploying members of Detachment 5, Company A, 2 of the 245th Aviation are CW5 Jason Stiff, CW4 James Lyles, CW4 Richard McCormick, CW3 Eric Nanny, CW3 Jason Wentworth, Sergeant First Class Jessica Schertz. Ladies and gentlemen, I present the members of Detachment 5, Company A, 2 of the 245th Aviation Regiment. Please give them a round of applause. Please rise or remain standing for the benediction and the departure of the official party and families.
Let us send you, soldiers and families, with this blessing. I bless you with knowing the reassuring voice of the shepherd and having settled assurance that you have everything that you need from his hand. I bless you to walk unafraid through the challenges before you, knowing his presence is with you. I bless you with grace and joy to walk through each day with the attitude and perspective required for that day. I cover you with the full armor of salvation, righteousness, truth, faith, spirit, and peace. Go forth with abundance and serve with integrity. To God be the glory. Amen.
Morning, Governor.
Good morning, everybody. Nice to see you. General Neely. Well, I just want to make a couple comments up front. We're very proud of our Illinois National Guard, the guardsmen who are being deployed today. This group is a special group. They're going into harm's way in the Horn of Africa, and all of Illinois stands with them and is very proud. And, you know, as I stand here with General Neely, I also want to say General Neely's just done a terrific job as new Adjutant General of our National Guard. He brings special capability to the job, and we've got a bright future ahead for our Illinois National Guard under his leadership. So.
Just generally with the war in Yemen, just across the water there, and the president's recent comments with Iran, we know their involvement in that region. Any general comment on our role as a country in that part of the world?
I'd just say, you know, we have the best military in the entire world. We're trying to keep peace and do the best that we can. Our guardsmen here in Illinois are important in that effort. And the work that these 7 individuals are going to be doing is vital to the mission that the military has in that region. So, you know, we wish them Godspeed, and we're going to be, you know, standing with them and looking forward to welcoming them home in about a year.
General, can you kind of just give an overview of the types of things that they're going to be doing, what their day-to-day is involved?
So their day-to-day operations will primarily be airlift support. They'll be working throughout the region, providing airlift support based on the needs of the actual operational area down there in that area. As the governor said, you know, we've got some of the best military out there. They're focused on supporting the demands on the ground and as those missions change in very competent hands.
What is airlift support?
So airlift support is there'll be flying aircraft that will actually move personnel around in the theater there. Horn of Africa, the infrastructure's challenged, right? So there's not roads and things of that nature, and so sometimes when you need to move personnel, you'll need some airlift support, and that's what they'll be doing.
Families took a lot of the focus in there. Talk a bit about the program the National Guard has to help the families if any of their members are off overseas.
Yeah, so the National Guard has a very robust program. We're very proud of our family program. It's really expanded over the years, and we'll constantly be in contact with those families, talking to them and making sure, touching bases with them, giving them calls. We'll have reoccurring events to make sure everything's going along with their deployment. It's important as they step out the door that our families are supported throughout these deployments. Someone like myself who's been through multiple deployments, see what our families have to go through when we leave home, and that's really what it is to be a guardsman these days. We have deployments, and sometimes it's here locally, sometimes it's across the country for training, and sometimes it's overseas in the deployed locations. And so we're very focused on making sure our families, who is really the third leg of the stool of supporting our guardsmen, are taken care of.
Governor, if we could switch gears for a minute, or on the run to the grocery store to get some beer, how that is relevant or how that helps pay for infrastructure projects.
Well, as you know, in order to put an infrastructure project bill together, you've got to have various revenue sources, and as we've talked to the members of the General Assembly, and included Republicans and Democrats in those conversations, we've put this collection of revenue sources together. It's important that they're stable revenue sources because you need to go bond them out, and in order to get people to buy the bonds, you've got to have a stable source of paying the bonds, and so that's why we did that. Very important also that we have enough of a capital bill here to meet the significant life safety needs for our infrastructure. And then on top of that, to make sure that we're advancing the economic interests of the state. So that's why a capital bill looks as it does.
You're already considered the tax man, though. With the critics are already labeling you as Mr. Tax Increase because of the fair tax program. Now there's a whole panoply of new taxes. How do you rise above the white noise and show exactly where that money would be going?
Well, as you know, the critics don't tell the truth. The fact is that we're lowering taxes and providing tax relief for 97% of people across the state of Illinois with the fair tax. And our goal has been to make this system fairer, that the wealthiest people, the people who most afford to pay, will be the ones who help us out in helping to pay the bills that have been built up over many years now, and change the trajectory of our budgeting forever. We've got to fill the structural deficit of this state, and we're doing so in part with the fair tax.
Governor, have you committed to both a vertical and a horizontal?
Yes.
plan?
Yes.
Do you think use taxes are regressive, and doesn't that negate some of the very tax relief that you just offered?
Yeah, as you know, there are various kinds of taxes that people have paid for decades, for maybe the existence of taxes forever, and many of them are in fact flat taxes, and flat taxes tend to be regressive. People who are at the bottom end of income levels pay a higher percentage of their income in those kinds of taxes, and as a result, a higher percentage overall of their income than people at the top end of income earners. So the one area that you can absolutely try to change the trajectory of that regressive tax system is in income taxes, and that's where the fair tax is so important. It allows us in one area of taxation to make sure that the people who can most afford it are the ones who step up to the plate, and people at the bottom end, people who make 30 and 40 and 50,000 and 100,000, 150,000, get a break under the system that I proposed.
On recreational cannabis, recently Leader Durkin said that the expungement portion, the language as far as it goes, was an incentive to get certain caucuses on board. Do you have a comment to that?
Sure. As you know, for 2 years on the campaign trail and now for 4.5 months as governor, I have advocated for equity as an important piece of why we need to pass the legalization of adult use cannabis. In fact, that's been my primary reason. Equity, making sure we get criminal justice reform. The laws have been unequally prosecuted against people of color, and that's one of the reasons why, as we have a cannabis bill put forward, it was very important to have expungement as part of it. Important for us to try to reverse the damage that's been done by the war on drugs to communities of color. I think everybody's known that for years now about what I believe, and so it should be no surprise to Leader Durkin or anybody else.
For 20 years, the infrastructure, whenever there's been infrastructure money, whether it be Illinois First, Illinois Jobs Now, the member initiatives have been the way that these projects have been chosen. Do you anticipate that will happen again, and is that the best way?
Well, as you know, there are a number of projects, and we put them forward in the proposal that we announced. There are a number of projects that just need to be done. As I say, there are bridges and roads and highways that are falling apart, waterways that are falling apart. We need to put some money into those to make sure that they don't fall apart. We need to advance the economic interests of the state, and so we've got projects that are in there that are about that. And then, of course, the members know their districts quite well. They know what the things are that are falling apart in their districts or where they need to advance the interests of the people of their district. So, of course, we have member input all across the board in both the House and the Senate.
Will you have to promise that to get
Governor, two issues.
to get their support? Will you have to promise?
No, we put this capital bill together because we're focused on making sure the infrastructure is solid across the
But
state.
to get the support, will you have to promise individual members?
No, I think members understand. Members understand that we have a huge infrastructure deficit in this state. That's one of the. I dislike the fact that every year we pass a budget and we do not fully fund infrastructure, just maintenance of infrastructure. And so what happens? 10 years go by before we actually fix any of the roads that need to be fixed. Many of them at the beginning of 10 years haven't been fixed for years. And then, as you know, there was a capital bill 10 years ago that wasn't fully implemented for a variety of reasons. And so actually it's been almost 20 years for much of this infrastructure since anybody really did anything to upgrade it. So we've got a lot of work to do here, and I think everybody understands that.
Governor,
All right,
two
thanks,
issues.
everyone. That was the last question.
Just two issues. On the income tax issue.
Well, wait, two.
Yeah, one. Pick one.
What's being done to get property tax relief?
Yeah.
And then also, what's the business groups are saying? Todd Mice says that the state's doing the wrong thing. We need business growth to increase revenue in the state. So if you could address those two things.
Sure. Well, first of all, an infrastructure bill, in fact, does encourage business growth. We're investing in the things that help business want to come to the state, making sure that our airports and our roads and our waterways and our bridges are solid. Remember, transportation, logistics, very important industry in this state, not to mention agriculture, our number one industry in the state. We've got to get our goods to market. And so investing in all of that with an infrastructure bill is critically important. Your other question, I'm sorry.
Property tax.
Property tax. Yeah. So very important to me. In fact, that's why the proposal that I put forward includes some property tax relief. Very, very important. One of the biggest problems that we've got in the state is property taxes. I want to make sure that we're reducing property taxes. So this is just one of a number of things that we can get done. But the fair tax helps us get that done, and it helps us reduce the tax burden on the middle class and those striving to get there. That's why I've been such a big proponent of it.
All right,
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Oh, we're going that way? Okay. Thanks, everybody. See you.